Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining again. This meeting is being recorded. I wanted to give everyone a heads up that this meeting is governed by Linux Foundation antitrust policy. Welcome to the meeting for today, which is on April 8th. And so for those who are unfamiliar with the Linux Foundation antitrust policy, and you can find more information at the linuxfoundation.org/antitrust policy, or feel free to reach out to me, uh, Laura, or Mike Versailles for details. This is a transparent, collaborative, and harassment-free space, and our goal is to support data protection and the adoption of confidential computing technologies. Do we have new members today? I don't think
I
so.
think we know everyone.
Okay. Yeah, and welcome back. And for returning members, thank you so much for your active participation. And then next is agenda review. And so here are the items on the agenda today, and we'll go through the usual reminders, and then Laura will share the events and subcommittee opportunities. And then Mike Purcell will share the executive director updates, and then I don't see Angela and then Dan on
So
the
there's
call.
a note from Angela and Dan. Angela can't make it today. Dan will be here at past.
Okay. Then we'll wait for Dan in pass to share the marketing updates when he joins. And then next on the agenda is the approval of outreach minutes. So we would like to approve the minutes from the previous meeting, which is on March 18th, 2026. We currently do not have quorum. So if there are any corrections or objections, please share them now. I'm hearing no objections. So we'll go ahead and approve the minutes from the March 18th, 2026 meeting. These were distributed in advance, so unless there are objections, and the minutes will be formally adopted. The minutes will be considered approved. So next is the usual reminders, and first is that please post your organization's jobs to our jobs board and then connect with the top talents in the community. And the next is please share your news and by subscribing to monthly newsletter or submitting your announcements via the content submission form. And those forms will be linked to the meeting minutes. So please take advantage of those opportunities. You can always follow the blog post and pitch your blog post ideas via the content submission form linked here as well. You can also have the opportunity to showcase your membership by displaying the member badge on your website and link back to the CCC website to highlight your engagement in CCC. And lastly, please stay connected and then follow our CCC events calendar to keep track of upcoming events and also join our Slack channel. Mike Versailles, I see you have a hand up.
Yeah, just a minor one, which is that what I would love would be if, as you exit this call, or if even now, as we're thinking about it, you quickly go to your company jobs board and you open up a search for confidential computing. And if you see any on there, you get in touch with me, or yeah, probably me, and I will show you, if you don't know how to submit those to the jobs board. So if you just do it right now, go to your own company's job board and see if there's anything to do with confidential computing. And if there is, then please submit it. If you just, I think it's getjobs.com or possibly .org, and you'll just be able to do it. So yeah. But if you do it right now, then it'll be open in a window, and we get to the end of the meeting. It'll take you 5 minutes to do it, and it's all done. Cool.
Thank you for sharing that, Mike. Laura, anything you would like to add on for the usual reminders?
No, I think you covered everything. Thanks, Rachel.
Yep, you're welcome. If no other comments or questions, then we'll move on to the next agenda topic of the today. The next is events update and also subcommittee opportunities. So I'll hand over to Laura to share those.
Hi, everyone. Okay, so I think everybody knew what our goals were for the OC3 campaign. We had an actual outline of what we wanted to accomplish. We sent some of these things over to some of the folks that are on the call today. We wanted to have some awareness and anticipation around the pre-event. We did have 2 speakers. Thank you to Mike Bursell and Rachel for speaking there. Rachel was able to cover a lot of the different use cases that you guys are implementing. So thank you so much for that. And then we did have some real-time amplification. I think we had only 1 post, though I do believe there's an opportunity for next time to have more real-time amplification. So I think getting the plan and strategy to Angela and Dan early as part of our marketing support, so they can put that calendar of amplifications in place. I think it would be super helpful. And of course, the post-event, there was a recap blog that we loaded to the CCC landing page. And then there were some on-demand videos from Mike's presentation, IBM, NVIDIA, et cetera. So we did try and put some of those together along with social posts. If we go to the next slide. Okay, so these were the success metrics. I won't read through these, but I think that I'm going to talk about some of the opportunities that we have for CC Summit, which is coming up in June 23rd and 24th in San Francisco. It's actually being co-hosted by the Linux Foundation. So the great thing about that is, and I'm going to share this in just a second, but I'll let my own cat out of the bag, I guess, so to speak. Right. It's kind of weird saying, actually, now I think about it. But anyway, I did have the opportunity to talk to the folks over there. Mike was great at actually engaging with the Linux Foundation and trying to figure out how we can utilize our discount. Thank you, Ab, for highlighting that there was a potential discount there. We did get 50% off of our sponsorship. Our original sponsorship tier was going to be gold. We ended up going with diamond because we were able to get that at 50% off. So it was actually only a tiny bit more than what we were going to pay for gold. So that was the great news. The opportunity here I see is that we put together this amazing robust calendar of activities and engagements, ways to engage with audiences via our own company amplification portals, whether that's our own personal LinkedIn, whether it's our company, X accounts or, LinkedIn accounts, whatever that looks like. We did have a page for each company. And I think that was a lost opportunity for me to showcase to each of the membership that we are building out content for you that you can just pull in and use in your own social feeds. So moving forward for CC Summit, we'll put together something in May. So you can put it on your calendar as a reminder that you can post it on LinkedIn at this time on this day, and then we will amplify from the CCC as well. So Linux Foundation will also amplify. So I think that's an opportunity, is to be more proactive in the way that Rachel and I engage with you guys as a membership. And then, of course, if you can, at the CC Summit, I hate to tell you the bad news. I think it's coming up actually as news, but today, those requests for proposals are due today to the CC Summit. I'm going to ask if we can get an extension on that, but just in case we can't, if you haven't submitted a talk for the CC Summit, you can go to their landing page. And today, again, is the last day, and I'll be sending out a reminder to the NVIDIANs as well to remind them. So there are 4 sessions that we get with the Diamond package. So we're moving on to the CC Summit now. This is really, we have a 20-minute keynote, a keynote panel, which those don't tend to do as well in social. And when we track the amplification, we can look at some of those stats in a minute. A 25-minute session, which is a good amount of time to actually get the word out, and then 1 panel participation in addition to the keynote panel participation. So there's 2 different ones. So there are 4 opportunities to present. If anybody is presenting, Oh, thank you, Mike, for putting that link in. If there is anyone that is has submitted, I don't believe that they've let you know that your talk was accepted yet, because I don't even think that they've.
Yeah, no. So I can confirm. I have submitted one, and I can also let you know that I'm on the program committee, and they haven't even told everyone that they haven't even released everything yet. So it's a way off yet.
Awesome. So I know Ab had reached out to me a couple weeks ago because his engineering team had reached out to him and had asked about who was going to be on the panel. So is it going to be the same people again, Mike, this year, or is it new folks?
I don't know. I just got an email a couple of days ago saying from the Linux Foundation saying that Opaque had suggested me and would I be happy to do it, and I accepted. So I don't know how they've done it. It's pretty much I'm pretty much in the dark, but I obviously accepted when they asked. So that's all I've got.
Okay.
Yeah, just a general comment, not just on the committee to review the papers. And I sent a note to Opaque. I got to think it's Kim Long on LF that's coordinating. Now, there's two elements here. There's an AMD as a sponsor and there's CCC as a sponsor. So I'm going to talk about CCC as a sponsor, but in general about the engagement model here. How are we going to engage with LF? Because I looked at the website. There's really it points to the it just visually it's not appealing. It's like we're April 8th. We're really late. Like as a for the conference, not us meaning CCC, but just generally speaking, are we going to have like weekly meetings or something like that, or bi-weekly, whatever it might be, with LF? Because right now I'm not. Maybe you guys are already engaged, but that's the name I got, and I don't know who's like coordinating that and model engagement or the engagement the kind of model with LF on this one, because previously it was Opaque and that was straightforward. Now it's kind of split in between two, so I'm frankly I'm completely confused on this.
Laura, do you have anything? I can tell people what I know, but I don't know everything by a long chalk.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And so we did receive an email from Moran, who was from Opaque, and she emailed us, I want to say yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday evening. And basically, she just let us know that they have the primary responsibility for the overall strategy and programming, but all the content decisions remain as they have in the prior years. So effectively, nothing has changed except that LF is the event manager this year. So I think that we'd be well suited to reach out to Moran, make sure that it sounds like Mike had a discussion with them, and he's on the committee for the content, right? The content approval committee, Mike.
Yeah, it wasn't a well. It's the CFP, so I guess it wasn't a discussion. They just sent me a thing. So
fair enough. So, I think it's a good question, and we've been trying to get to the bottom of this on the back end. Mike has been sending emails. I met with Moran last week. Or did I meet with her Monday? Anyway, I met with her recently, and we talked about the fact that there's no visibility into what's happening right now, and we'd love to get more visibility into that. I know that she had passed everything off to the Linux Foundation back in December, but I think because of so many different events, I think that we're getting a late start on this. So Ab, let us come back to you, get you an answer to your questions, and then see if there is going to be a regular cadence of meetings. If so, we'd love to have the membership participate if you're interested. Again, we'll open that up to you guys, and we can determine best next steps at that point. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, that works. Again, as long as we are clear on who's doing what, not on our side, but on their side, because it's still. Yeah, I mean, as I said,
it's still quite opaque, isn't it?
Absolutely. So again, I'm pushing. I'm using as well the on purpose, like the like my hat as like representing AMD as a sponsor, but also to advance Clarity as well to get some answers. And Maren knows that. I spoke to Maren as well. Like not on this topic, it was specific only on this topic. It was just a meeting, and then she gave me that contact in LF. To be fair, Maren mentioned that that would be for like logistical kind of questions and things like that. It's like I'm to be honest, I'm bombarded by questions like internally, like, is there like, well, what's the hotel? What's the discount? What's this and that? So that I understand that's on the LF side, but as well as I got questions like I have at least one architect, one of the key guys on computational computing at AMD, who was typically on the the committee for to review the proposals for docs. And he just wants to know, like, does he need to set time aside for this or not? And I mean, I have to check with him if he received the same email that Mike you received. So it just, again, engagement model, I leave that, Laura, between your capable hands. And but I think putting some sense of urgency on, and I'm trying to do that as well on my side on an individual level, but I'm thinking CCC, like I think some level of regular meeting, maybe not weekly, or at least bi-weekly, would be important to on the messaging. The website is, as it stands, is absolutely. All right, I need to take a breath and be polite. It's not acceptable, and needs to be beefed up.
So can I respond to a few of the, and this is all really, really helpful stuff. The first thing I wanted to say was, Laura, I want to just be sure that you're happy to be the point person within the CCC. I will help out as I can, but you're leading the charge, right? After I know I had to do some initial stuff, but you're IC, correct?
Yeah, I'm happy to.
Perfect. I mean, if you want me to lead stuff, that's great. But I don't think we should have two people. I think one person is the right thing to do. And so please use me as you wish.
Yeah, Laura, if I can help as usual, let me know.
So that was the first thing. The second thing I was going to say is, firstly, as I understand it, we've been accepted as the Diamond sponsor, but the paperwork has not been signed yet, which is why our logo is not, as I understand it, yet on the event page. Hopefully that will change.
I'm sorry, just an FYI, there's no logo on there or anything about the sponsors right now. If you go to the LF page, like it's. Anyway, there's a lot of frustration on my part, so I'm
I get that.
But yeah.
So that's one thing.
Yeah, did you raise those to Moran or no? Were you able to highlight?
I did, but the LF right now the website is on the LF side, so I don't know. That's my point.
It's a standard LF events page. They have a very standard way of presenting the stuff, and it is, they host 30, 40 events a year, and this is their standard way it's done. I don't know how much it is. Things can be changed and stuff, but it's a standard look and feel for the LF events website.
So I get the point, but there is a website with the URL, like a domain, computationscomputingsummit.org, I believe, that OPIC owns, and that's the promotional vehicle. Now we end up with two websites, and I don't know how we are, where we will be doing the efforts, where will people register. I see
exactly. That's really important stuff that needs to be sorted. 100% agree.
These are things that, and again, I'm not trying to stress people or anything, but we're April 8th. Like, for me to secure execs to show up, it's already a pain. So again, this is obviously not the CCC. So Laura, by all means, again, I'm pushing individually as from the AMD sponsorship kind of side, but as CCC as well, we need to, make sure we have the right messaging, the right positioning, and also critically, in my opinion, is the engagement model, because now it used to be two parties, right? CCC and Opaque. Now we have this triangle, which is fine. As I said, there's a lot of benefit in leveraging the experience of LF, but it's, again, having two websites. I don't think that's really helpful, in my opinion. But that's, again, I'm just want to express that.
So, Mike Bursell, when you met with LF, I saw a list of questions, and quite a few of them were still open. And that was back, I think you raised those in February. And in March, we still had some opens. I know you had met with Linux Foundation on some of these things. Had they given you any updates on that over the last month?
So the open questions from the CCC, I think they were all answered to the extent that the LF could answer them. I think the further questions were the ones that we sent to Opaque, which you have seen and you are part of as well. I mean, I hope anyone can see all of this. Not a problem at all. I don't think there are any specific. I'm trying to remember if there are any specific open questions from LF members, and it was definitely March. It wasn't February. It was March the 23rd that document was started, possibly. Oh, the 18th, I think, actually, that it was created. So it's certainly not that old. Let me just copy the link to that original page here, and I think we got. Yeah, I think between that and the thing we had. With that for Opaque, which I'll also paste in. Which is basically a subset of those questions. I think there's still confusion, as far as I'm concerned, about which exactly what the responsibilities are between the two parties, and yeah, who to contact for what, as you said.
So, Mike, when since you've already met with them, you've had some calls with them. Is it possible, Ab, if you go ahead and put your additional questions into that document? Like, I thought it was a very good question about, well, which website do we use? I know that we are very limited on how the LF builds their websites, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. We need to kind of figure that out, though, because to your point, if we're trying to get executives to go from our companies, it's going to be hard to get their buy-in if the event looks like it's not a top tier event. So
I can't see the one from the old one, the Confidential Computing Summit.org, whatever it is. I'm just searching online and I can't see it.
Ab, can you drop that link in there? I remember seeing something.
Actually, in the
I can see the 2025 one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there was only the 2025 one. I don't think that they ever launched a 2026 website.
No, they didn't. Right now, it's only the LF one. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But the LF one is I feel like it's a website from 2005. No offense, but that's how I feel. Yeah.
That's fair. So, Ab, one of the things that we could do is let's go ahead and, if you don't mind, in the chat, Mike Bursell did share all the questions that he had already met with the Linux Foundation on. If your questions are not covered there, it looks like there are still some opens, Mike. It said there's not really an answer right now. It's unclear whether it's possible for this year. There's still a lot of
okay, then fair enough. I'm just really looking at it.
Yeah, to close those out. I haven't looked, to be fair, I haven't looked at the questions for quite some time now. So
Some of them were completed by in the conversation with Opaque. So if you look at the second document which I posted, some of those are cleared up, I think.
okay, maybe we could have a meeting with them, at least as Diamond sponsors, and just AMD, we as the CCC as Diamond sponsors, and then you as the executive director of the CCC, maybe we can have a quick chat with them along with Opaque to get all of these things closed out, like within the next couple of days if possible. And then when we're sharing that with our executive team, it would make sense to have a very strong ability to present whatever that plan is, whatever that strategy is. We could share it. There's only a website from LF. Okay. I saw your note, Ab. Does that sound like good next steps? Do you think that you could help us set that up, Mike? And I know that you had something come up this week, and I don't want to overshare. So maybe.
Yeah, so I have availability tomorrow, Friday, and Tuesday. We have a GB on Wednesday, and then I'm off for a week on holiday. So yeah, I could try and set something up. I think we need to know exactly what we're asking, and I don't know who the right people is. It we reckon Kim probably, do we, from the LF?
I don't know if it's Kim or Colleen, so we can try and figure this out offline.
Okay.
I think.
All right, let's have an email discussion. Ab, me, you, and we'll try and work things out.
Okay,
Yeah, and
good.
I think for the engagement model as well, and all these aspects, I think it really has to be a three-way conversation, meaning CCC, LF, and Opaque, because that if we go one-to-one every time, something is going to get lost.
So I think one important thing to understand is what you want me to do, what specific role you'd like me to be performing, because I don't want to be sort of just sitting in and adding just another point of view. If there are particular things you want me to do, and it might make sense actually to use me as a second tier thing after initial discussions, if there are problems, kind of as a follow-up. That would also take me out of the loop in terms of slowing things down, organizing meetings and stuff.
I think that you've already started all the conversations, Mike. It would be great if you set it up and you, and then Ab and I can drive. And that way you definitely, you can go on holiday and all that, and it won't be any problem at all. And then Ab and I can try.
I would say that the person I spoke to is not the person organizing it. That was the head of LF events, who was Angela. That's now been handed over to, I think it said Colleen, sorry. So I'm not sure that is going to be hugely useful. I can do it. That's fine. I can try and set that up.
Yeah, if you could, and then just set up the fact that you've already had this conversation, but there's still a lot of opens based on the conversation you had with whoever, Angela, I guess. And then we would like to see if we can close these out within a very short time frame. And then we'll join the call as well. And then one of us can take the lead from there. But if you could set that up, that would be great.
Okay, I'm going to put an outstanding questions at the bottom of the first of those documents, and let's put things there before I try and set things up, because I don't want to be going without a list of questions.
I think there's enough open from that doc that you sent that will keep us busy for the entire meeting. But if Ab could also ask his, he had some additional questions around, who owns what, who's going to help with logistics like hotels, who's reviewing the RFPs. It sounds like
hotels is there. If you look at the website, it's listed, for instance. So
yeah, I'll go through the document and I will add my questions if they have not been addressed already. So I will not do a repeat. Yeah.
And then messaging
Okay.
and website. Ab, you'd also mentioned that you'd like to see some different messaging. So any of those things that you'd like to see changed, let's get them all into that GDoc that Mike
Yep.
started. And that way we can close them all out at once. Okay. So sorry, guys. Again, I don't know if the April 8th date will move, but just as to wrap up this topic, it sounds like Mike will help us get something on the calendar tomorrow or Friday. We'll all meet with him, and then we will get you better updates for our next meeting. So if there's no other questions here, we can move on to the next topic.
Yeah, and just a quick thing, and link to submit the abstract, and I'll also share that in the chat here. And I'll also link all those forms and then where you can submit them via the meeting minutes. So just a reminder.
Could someone also confirm the name of the person who is in the Linux Foundation who's running it? Because I can't find that email address, that email that you mentioned.
The one I was given by Mirren, I think yesterday or Monday, was Kim Long.
Is that the same one you had, Laura? I thought you said Colleen.
I saw an email from Colleen. I'm trying to find it right now, but I never saw
Colleen
any.
Mickey is on the events team. I would imagine it's her.
Who's that?
Colleen Mickey, like Mickey Mouse. She's on the events team. I don't
Okay, I don't have her email address.
Yeah, she's the only Colleen on the events team, so I'm sure it's her.
Let me forward you the email, Mike.
But I'm still not very well, and this is.
So I'm posting the name that was given to me by Mirren at Opaque.
So I know
That's Kim Long.
Kim is a salesperson. She only sells sponsorships, so she wouldn't know anything about the logistics.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah, so she might have sent it to your other email address, Mike, and so I just forwarded it to you right now. But you were on the CC from the email from Colleen, but it went onto that other email address that you don't use that often. That's what I'm guessing.
Okay, I'm just trying to find it at the moment. Okay, thank you very much indeed. That's brilliant.
Okay. So I shared that. Okay, so there are subcommittee to Ab's point about websites. Let's go ahead and look at an opportunity here. I apologize for any background noise. So there is an opportunity for a work group. So remember that we shortened these to once a month so we could get more work done on the back end and try and close out areas of opportunity within smaller work groups. So one of those work groups, this will start right now in April. And we're actually looking at changing the website per Muriel's great feedback. Abs had feedback. Actually, everybody on this call has given feedback about opportunities for our landing page, but I don't know if we've made a lot of changes. So Rachel and I sat down the other day and we just basically built out a doc, a GDoc, and it's listed here, but we can also put it into the chat. We want to update the look and feel of the current landing page to be more in line with today's users. So today's audience doesn't click through a menu. That was like an 80s thing, 80s and 90s and early 2000s. Today, people scroll. And so one of the things that we wanted to do was we wanted to provide a scrolling plus a top nav choice for our consortium members and for people that are interested in learning more about confidential computing. So let me put that link actually into, I'm going to bring it up real quick.
Yeah, I already added the link in the chat.
Oh, you did? Oh, look at you, Rachel. Thank you so much. And by the way, I'm not on camera because my camera's not working. So I didn't mean to be rude when I'm talking, but alas, my camera's not working. So if you look at this again, so just so everybody on this call is aware, this is just an outline. It's fake. Think of it as a placeholder. I don't know. Maybe, do you want to bring up that link? Rachel, do you mind bringing that up so we can just show that? And then we'll talk about there is going to be a cost to this. It's not free to redo our website, but I think that this is an opportune time for us to do it as part of a work group and make it more engaging and interactive and get those use cases up there. Rachel did, she worked with all of you guys. A lot of you worked really, really hard in getting a 1-minute video together so she could showcase your technology on confidential computing. And I think that it would make sense that those videos, at the very least, make it onto this landing page. So again, this is just an outline. We'll work through it as a team, but it would be an overview, benefits, use cases, resources, maybe would move to the end, projects, and then becoming a member. So this is just kind of an outline of why it's important, why CC is important, and why the Confidential Computing Consortium and having an open source consortium is so important to the industry and to every industry. It will talk about the benefits. You can go ahead and scroll down. These again are just placeholders. So these are just some of the fake benefits that we thought that the consortium members would agree to. What's missing from here is these are CC benefits, confidential computing benefits. They're not becoming a member benefits. So again, these are things that we could talk about, that we could highlight. We could talk about the benefits of CC and then the benefits of becoming a member, or vice versa. Again, we can make this our own because it's our design. And then use cases, if you scroll down, these again are just fake placeholders. We're thinking about the big verticals and how they would benefit from CC. And hopefully these would actually be clickable, real life use cases that were built on an open source technology. Like I think the world one could be TikTok. So, so if we keep going, if we keep scrolling, it will not look like this. We just want to make sure everybody knew that we had your logos. We'll probably just have like a wall of logos. It'll be at the very, very bottom probably. And then
we need to put everyone's logos on. It's really important for the members.
For sure, for sure. And then this is the current landing page. Like these are the different things that are there right now. I think they could be killed. A few of them could just be let go and they can go into the ether. But at the very top, I would love to see if we could do like something as a scrolling news type of area. Again, this is Dan is checking in on this. We're looking at possibly, again, this is just a guesstimate, around 15K. We do have some budget set aside for events that might not be used. So that could be used to do this rebranding exercise. Again, I want to get this done as early in the year as possible so we can get as much use out of it as possible. So if you would like to join this work, we've already done some of the work for you. We've already built out the fake web page. So if that's something that you'd be interested in helping with, we would love to get some members to join that. And we would meet probably once a week throughout April, and then into hopefully by then early May, we would have something to share with Dan, who would work with the Linux Foundation to build out a new landing page. So are there any questions? I'm sure there are. So I'll stop talking for a sec.
I think Mike was first. Theron Jones, not me.
I am. Thanks, Laura. And by the way, I think this is excellent work that you guys have done here to try and evaluate what we've got and make some suggestions. I am. One of the things that one of my long-standing points of friction is the use of commercially oriented content in our publications, and I see several of these things start to look a great deal like a company website, and the use cases will likely be provided by vendors. And so either those things need to get anonymized or something like that, or we're going to run up against that same long-standing thing, which is, if you're housed under the Linux Foundation, the only thing you can talk about is open source projects. And so I am, while I applaud the makeover, I am nervous that you won't be able to execute it because of prohibitions.
So, Mike, that's a really great question, and it's a great point. And I know Dan, poor Dan, has had to go through 15 calls with me on this. I think that the content guidelines that I shared with you guys a couple weeks ago go over some of the opportunities there. And I think what's missing specifically from that is the actual, maybe an example. So, what I showed, I was on a call with Mike Brazell, Dan, and Rachel. I think it was last week, Dan, or it might have been the week before. Keep me honest here. But we had gone over a real world example, which is Microsoft. And there was one of the things we had, I brought that one up because it was unbiased. It wasn't NVIDIA, it wasn't Microsoft, it wasn't, AMD or Intel. And I feel like we're very vocal as members. So I brought up a Microsoft use case, and there were some suggestions that we could just change the title and the intro to talk about the open source first, and then the benefits, and remove any heavy branding. So I think what we could do, and Dan, you and I can take this offline, but maybe we use that exact example, as long as Microsoft's okay with it, to show how we can highlight these open source projects and how they turn into solutions for vertical companies that are using them within their vertical. Like, I think it was ad revenue, if I remember correctly, that one. But there's healthcare ones that we could highlight. TikTok's a perfect example. Meta, using it for WhatsApp. There's a lot of different things that we could highlight that come from these open source projects that are still like moving the needle across huge industries. And that's what I think that we have the opportunity to do, Mike. But I'll let Dan lean in here if you had any specific things I didn't highlight.
No, you pretty much covered it, Laura. I mean, I think that this is all doable, and we would love, love, love nothing more than to have use cases. Like, I would love to have those for the media. We'd love to have them for social. We'd love to have them for many different reasons. But, again, like, I understand Mike's concern, and have the same concerns. And so we just need to make sure that we're doing them the right way. But it is possible. It's just we need to lead with open, lead with collaboration, lead with the benefits of an open source approach or a specific project, or it needs to just be completely no mention of vendors, no mention of any product, and just be a technical how-to best practices. All of those are perfectly fine. So I think that there are definitely ways that we can approach this. It's just we need to, I think your approach of getting one done that works and then giving that to folks as an example of how they can do this is the perfect way to go about it. I know I've shared a number of examples from other foundations outside of CCC, but having one that's actually CC focused, I think will be of the most benefit to the community.
And one of the things I was also thinking about, instead of everything coming from a quote unquote open source platform, I was thinking about the fact that even competing, I hate to say this, Ab, but we're competitors. Even competing companies, we're friends, but we're competitors. It's like we're Olympians and we're both going for the gold.
To me, I'll say it as bluntly as I'll usually am. If NVIDIA, Intel, AMD, and and on the cloud side, similar thing, Google, Microsoft. I mean, if we're coming together to promote this technology, that's, to me, that's the biggest testament to how we believe in this technology, not to promote a solution, because we can do that on our own. We want the world to adopt it. That's literally what it is about. And I hope the Linux Foundation, starts to ingest that as a message.
And Ab, to your point, that was going to be my question. So that's why I made the kind of joke about us being competitors. It really is. I mean, you do have technologies that are very similar, but we are coming together to deliver these solutions to market. Like you can use AMD's technology, you can use Intel's technology, or you can use NVIDIA's technology, and all of them partner together to deliver a solution to market. And I mean, that's what we saw with TikTok. So I'm wondering if that's not another way we can show that open source collaboration provides the entire world with opportunities around confidential computing. I mean, Dan, would that also work if we?
I think this is a direction I like, because one thing I think we need to do, I was just looking at some of the other big foundations or consortia in the CCC, into the LF, things like CNCF or OpenReach or OpenSSF or Automotive Linux, and they are about selling the foundation or selling the consortium and what the consortium does. And that's the top thing, rather than selling Kubernetes or automotive grade Linux. And I think one thing that we've lost part of, partly because of the way that the website's grown, and the focus there hasn't been much focus at all, right? Is lost of what is the benefit, what does the foundation do, how can working together push forward what your company's doing, what the ecosystem's doing, what the technologies are doing. And I'd love to see a way of selling the foundation, selling the consortium as a place where we can get stuff done. And I really see that that's happening. You know, the TAC at the moment, the conversations we've had on events just earlier on today. So I want to make sure that the value of the foundation is made really clear in any work that we do of the consortium.
Well, that comes to it kind of raises an interesting question about what is the product that the website is selling? Is the website selling the consortium as the product, in which case the website should be focused on, look at all the amazing things that are happening here in the CCC, or is the website selling the concept of confidential computing? You know, are we here to convince people to, adopt this technology?
And I'm not saying we shouldn't do the second of those, but we do need the first.
Agree. Yeah. I mean, I think that the first step is getting people to join the consortium, but we definitely need to position the technology in a way that shows the value. So you want to join our initiative.
Yeah, it's a tricky balance, isn't it?
For sure, which is why we need as many participants as possible.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm really glad we're having the conversation. I really am.
Yeah, so just want to do a quick time check. I think we'll have about 6 minutes left, and then shall we move on to the remaining items?
If people could just not raise your hand in this call, but if you could just reach out to us and let us know if you'd like to be on this, we would love to have as many participants.
I've requested edit access already. Thank you.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. So yeah, if anyone else, if you guys would like to join, we'd love to have you, and we will kick off those meetings probably starting next week. But we will send out meeting minutes for anyone that can't make it, Mike, because I know you're out next week. All right. So this is Mike's section anyway.
Yeah, I'll be fairly quick if I may. The next slide, thank you. So I've already mentioned lots of stuff about the CFP CC Summit closes today. I think, Laura, there's a decent chance we'll be able to get a little bit of an extension, but as already noted, we are pretty close, so we want to get moving as quickly as possible. There's an interesting workshop happening. I can't remember the date. I think it's June or May the 17th. Please check that out. RSS India, I've had 2 sessions accepted. I see AMD have had 1 accepted, Red Hat have 1 accepted. So there is going to be CCC at Open Source Summit India, which is fantastic. If you've got colleagues or companies or ecosystem folks who are going to be there, let me know. Let's get some meetings happening. It's in Mumbai, so that'd be great. That's me. Let's move on.
Okay, the next is Dan's marketing updates, and Dan, I'll hand over to you for those updates.
Yeah, and I know we're short on time, so I won't go into too much detail here. We're continuing, as you all have known, if you've been on the last few meetings, to see a year-over-year decrease in website visits. Again, it's the same story we've been telling. We just had much more content and much more technical content early last year, which drove a lot more visits to the site. So I think what we're already talking about, refreshing the overall site content, getting things like use cases that will help stem this tide and get us going back in the correct direction. Then on the next slide is just an overview of the most recent social stats, which we saw increases month on month, which is great. And these were largely driven by OC3. So it does, I think, support and reinforce the decision to invest in more event marketing. We're just seeing that that was already successful right off the bat. So looking forward to continuing that in the days ahead for future events. Again, we'd still like to have lots of other kinds of content too, because that will also help. But the most engaged content was certainly the content around OC3.
Cool. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Dan. We don't have any other business. No additional agenda topics were submitted ahead of the meeting. We have 2 minutes left. Any updates, questions, or additional agenda items that folks would like to discuss for the next meeting or in the meantime? Okay, if not, then we can conclude this meeting. Thank you for all your time participating in great discussions.
Thanks, folks. Bye.
Thanks all.
So much. Talk soon. Bye.